I'm going to be a dinosaur too and use the podium, but thank you very much, Mark. Really appreciate it. Words cannot express the gratitude that we have for the Green Bay Packers organization and what they bring to the region and the state overall. We really look forward to a continued partnership and another great football season. No pressure, but we're also looking forward to you bringing the Lombardi Trophy back home where it belongs. All of us at USI Insurance Services are very proud to be the platinum sponsor for today's event. We're really grateful that you all took some time out of your schedules to be here today. Appreciate that and appreciate what all of you do to help our communities in the New North region grow and prosper. We also appreciate that many of you have selected us as your trusted advisor for employee benefits, insurance, and retirement plan services, and we appreciate that trust and confidence, and we'll continue to work hard to earn that. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote presenter, Tim Moore, who is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning director. He connects with his audiences through emotion-driven stories, dynamic visuals, and compelling audio. Tim has collaborated with some of the world's most admired brands, including Gatorade, Hyatt, and USAA. He specializes in creatively ambitious projects for creatively ambitious people. As a curiously driven entrepreneur, Tim has become a leading expert in purpose-driven marketing over the past 10 years and has developed emotionally compelling campaigns for brands all around the world. He's the author of Sold on Purpose, a comprehensive guide to purpose-driven marketing, a copy of which you all would have received as you came in. And Tim is also the founder of the Tampa Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit focused on inspiring communities through positive public messaging. Tim's message today is one of reflection on the resiliency of our region during the COVID-19 pandemic, the power of social impact, and an inspirational message about not giving up. You know, we held a Healthcare Heroes event last evening to honor the men and women on the front lines fighting the pandemic. Tim was very gracious, and he gave a special presentation to reflect our gratitude. So please help me welcome Tim Moore, and while he makes his way up to the stage, we'll take a look at some of Tim's work as well.
Thank you. And good morning, Green Bay. It's exciting to be here today and see the energy and the enthusiasm in the Wisconsin business community. I'll tell you, for the road to recovery, it seems like you guys are already on your way, and you can feel it's contagious in the room right now. I'm from Tampa Bay. It was 80 degrees when I left yesterday. It was 90 degrees when I landed here. So it seems like you're ready for summer already, too, and well on your way with that. But I'll tell you, what an incredible community there is here. Last year, we look back at 2020, I think, man, so many crazy things had happened that we always talk about the bad. But I want to remind you where we were at in February. Because February, we had an economic phenomenon. For 109 straight months, we had job growth. This is the best unemployment we've seen since 1969. The markets were incredible. In fact, we were setting records every single week. I mean, this was an economy that you would pray for. It was incredible. But at the same time, the measure for this success was this big green elephant in the room right here, the dollar bill. And I'll tell you today, I want to ask the question, from an economic standpoint, not how good are we doing, but really rethinking that into how much more good could we do. I think this year has given us a time to reflect that maybe economies are more than just this. I'll tell you, I'm an advertiser. Advertisers are the worst. For 100 years, we've rebranded the American dream to life, liberty, and the purchase of happiness. And I'll tell you this, that how is it that the wealthiest country in the world has the highest rate of depression? The suicide rate continues to increase. Household debt's higher now than it's ever been. How is that so? That if satisfaction's for sale, everyone's so broke. I think that there's a bigger purpose to our economies than just money. The narrative for business over the years has been that the purpose for business is to make profit. And I understand you need profit in order to survive, in the same way that you and I need food in order to survive. But the purpose of my life isn't to eat everything I can. No, there's a higher purpose than that. See, I think for businesses, the goal of a business is to find your gift, and the purpose of your business is to give it away. I look back, I found my purpose 15 years ago in a very unique place. The beginnings of Diamond View happened in the Caribbean, in this island, Dominican Republic. I got a flyer, it was at church, it said a missions trip with a palm tree on it, Dominican Republic. I had no clue what a missions trip was. I thought it was like an excursion you go on after the cruise, or like the mission's gonna go find that palm tree on that island. And as I get to the airport, I realize this is a completely different kind of trip. There's pallets of water. We have medical supplies and shirts. So I'm asking around, what are we bringing all this for? This seems like a lot of excess for us. And they tell me, well, it's not for us. In fact, one of the counselors comes over and he hands me a camera. He says, Tim, you're gonna be the video guy. I said, the video guy? I've never run a camera before. And this thing's 100 pounds. It's a big, looks like a suitcase. It's a VHS camera. I tell this to young people, they have no clue what I'm talking about. They're like, what app is that? I'm like, forget about it. He gives me this camera and I said, I don't know how to work this thing. He said, it's easy. In the airport, he teaches me how to do it. He says, there's a button on the back. When you press it, the light blinks red. Whatever you point at goes in. Whatever goes in comes back. He said, just bring back the memories of this trip. And so I packed this thing up. We land in Santo Domingo. And we never went to the beach that week. In fact, we went to the center of the island near Haiti, where it's a completely different world. As a 15-year-old kid, I had never seen a world like this before. People would drink out of the gutters of the street. They lived next to a landfill. They would take the trash from the landfill and build their houses out of it. And this is something I never ever seen. And I'm sitting there getting a third world education on how to shoot video as I'm watching this happen. And I only had one trick. I would zoom in, Tim. I would just zoom into the scene, and I would look for people's faces because it's so different on video. When we're in person, there's this bubble. No one ever gets past this 3-foot mark because it just feels a little awkward. But with the camera, you could zoom into someone's face and you could see the condition of the life they've lived. There's a story there that you never have in person. That perspective, I got hooked on it. And I'll tell you, I left that week and I came back and I made this video. It's my first video, amateur video that I would show to the church. And we put it up on the screens, much like this. I found this effect that when you take video and you make it big and you make the sound large, the feeling is just so much more impactful. So as I'm sitting in the back of the room, I'm waiting for the standing applause. I'm thinking, I know once this ends, they're gonna feel it just the way I felt it. And the video ends and it's dead quiet. And my heart drops and I'm like, oh man, that was not what I was expecting. But as the lights come up, I could see that people were actually crying. They're wiping away their tears. And the pastor comes up and he says, hey, for anyone that wants to help these people, we're gonna pass around a bucket right now. And I saw as a 15-year-old kid in the back of this room, people giving money to people they never met on an island they'd never been to before for a cause that 2 minutes ago nobody in that room even knew about. I thought, wow, that's powerful. I thought, that's the kind of advertising that I want to do. You know, there's something about when you do things that matter that makes it so meaningful to come to work every day. And so for 3 years, I volunteered at that church until I was 18. I decided I'm going to start a business. It's called Diamond View. Only problem was I was in the community college of my community college where I lived. Called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm starting a professional video production company. He said, really? I said, yeah, it's called Diamond View Studios. I said, Tim, one problem. I said, what's that? He goes, you don't have a camera. I said, well, yeah, you know, my buddy has a camera. I'm going to borrow that. He goes, no, Tim, you don't even have a computer. I was like, well, I'm in the library. I got tons of computers right here. And he was right. You know, at that time, I didn't have anything but the dream that one day this would be a little bit bigger. We'd be able to make a real impact. For a year, went on borrowing my buddy's camera and doing as much as I can. My girlfriend at the time worked at an ice cream shop. For 5 months, she was secretly saving up. And on Christmas, she buys me my first camera. This changed my life again because now I had the tool that every single day I could continue to work on. And professional cameras were expensive, especially back then. And so this is a big investment on her part. Yeah, I married that girl. Today, we've been married for 8 years. We got 2 boys. Thank you. Someone buys you a gift like that, you got to. You can. You're for life on that one. She's my high school sweetheart. And in fact, our last names are both Moore. So a lot of Moores at the wedding. But yeah, people always ask. I know I'm from Florida. Are y'all related? No, we're not. Just to get that out, just in case that comes up later. But this is the next coolest thing that happened was that my roommate at the time, he was studying to be a doctor, and he would help me out, you know, from time to time. Now I'm 2 years into the business, and I convinced him that, hey man, you know, I know you got this medical career ahead of you, but come over to the dark side and help me build this dream. And he comes over. His mom hates me, you know, for the first year, and I thought, wow. Now that was the moment where I realized now I'm successful because I got 2 guys. This thing just doubled. My business doubled overnight. So me and John the next year continue to grow this. We're getting all kinds of business. And we grow from 2 people to 5 people. And then another event happens that changed my life. I get a call. We had done a video for this event. It was called the Tampa Bay Tech Forum. And the Tampa Bay Tech Forum is much like this, an event where you know, they would have entertainers on stage and they would show videos and they would give awards to some of the best businesses in the tech community. Well, I made the video for this event and I get a call from a lady named Sharon and she says, hey Tim, I loved the event you put on. We're wondering if you can come meet with another business who wants to do a similar event. I said, sure. Where are we meeting at? She says, Lakeland. Lakeland's a small town outside of Tampa, you know, nothing really going on over there economically. And so I show up, I'm in a t-shirt and jeans, and I walk into what's Bright House Networks. This is a $9 billion communications company. And I realize right away, this might be a different kind of meeting. And she takes me back to the boardroom, the executives line the table, and she says, this is Tim. Tim produced the entire event you saw. The lights, the sound, the acts, he did it all. And I'm sitting there holding my breath, knowing that all I did was the video on the screens. And from the other side of the board table, they said, well, Tim, great news. We have an event coming up. It's in 2 months. We're way behind. Our vendor left. It's at the Tampa Convention Center. And we want you to put it on. You did a fabulous job. You could do that for us, right? He looks at me and he's nodding his head. And I'm looking around the room, sweating bullets. And I said, of course we could do that. So we take on the event. 2 months later, we put on what's becomes the largest regional business event in Tampa Bay. 2,000 people show up to this convention center. The whole idea of the event was, if we could make a screen large enough, all I'll do is play videos the entire time. You know, that's the only thing I knew how to do. And so we did it, and it turned into 3 years of doing this event. Our team grew from 5 people to 20 people, and soon before we know it, we were at 25, 30 people. But I had an epiphany as this growth was happening, and that was on this intersection. You see, where we're at is at the very top of Tampa, or at the northernmost part. Once you go past this intersection, you're not in Tampa anymore. But down this street goes right into the downtown where you can see all the skyscrapers. I had been working that night till about 4 a.m. in the morning. And this was often, the case for us. A lot of times the client will say, hey, we love the video. But as an artist, if you don't get the final touch on it, that thing will haunt you for the rest of your life. Because they'll continue to play it over and over, and you wish you changed the audio or tweaked it a little bit. That's the problem with being an artist. You never know when to put down the paintbrush. And so we worked all the way till 4 a.m. on this. And at this point, I'm a little bit delusional. And I'm driving home, and John is in the car in front of me, and I'm right behind him. And if you've ever been caught at a red light when there's nobody around, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. It feels like hours. I'm sitting there. There's not a car in sight. And so I'm thinking what any normal person would do is, okay, I'm just going to blow right through this red light here so I can get home. And I look around, and I look in my side view mirror, and I realize there's not a single person from this street that goes all the way into downtown on the entire street. And so I get out of the car at this point, and I'm looking out here, and there's not a single person that I could even hear. And I thought, wow, I've realized the advantage right now that we have in the business. And that is, nobody's out here working like we're working because they didn't want it like we wanted it. And going home at 4 o'clock that night, I thought, man, that's what we have to do as business owners, is to realize, what can you do to find your passion where it doesn't feel like work anymore? That you're the latest one out of the office and it still feels like play. I'll tell you, passion is something that when you put energy into it, you get more energy out. A lot of people relate it to infatuation, this burning desire, and I'll tell you, it's nothing like that. It's more like love. Love, you have some hard days. Ask my wife. Love is complicated. It's always there, but it's not always easy. And I found that when you can tap into the thing that you love, you start to blur the lines between your labor and your leisure, between your education and your recreation. You really start to blur the lines between your work and your play. And that was something that really took us to the next level. We had grown to about 30 people at this time, and I needed a bigger building to move into. And this is a cigar factory right here in the corner next to a community school. And in Florida, the community schools, the way they work is about 95% of the students walk to school instead of being bused. And so every day at 1 o'clock, we would have hundreds of students walk by this building. And I walked outside with one of our guys at the time, and I said, look at this, man. Look what we got. And he looks in, and he's like, yeah, it's a mess. We had bought this as a foreclosure. We knew we needed to fix it up. Like I said, no. Look in a little further, see what we got. He's like, a building? I said, no. We got the biggest billboard on Bears Avenue. If we could turn this into a mural so that the students see it every day. So I thought, this is going to be easy. We just got to get rid of these trees, put the art on the wall. And then I found out that removing a tree in Hillsborough County is like murder. I put in a permit and instantly denied. And so the second permit I put in, I was like, all right, let me just describe. It's for the community school, the kids that walk. And I put that in, denied again. And I was like, okay, maybe they're not reading this right. So the next one, I put an essay. I staple this together, send it in, and I get a call. It's a lady by the name of Lucy. And she says, hey, Tim, I just want to let you know the way the permitting process works is that if we deny it the first time, we're probably not going to ever approve it. I just wanted to let you know that. And I said, okay. So I did what any normal person would do. I put in 3 more permits. And they got bigger and bigger. And then she calls me back again. And this time I could tell the tone has changed. She says, Tim, you're creating more work for my department than I need right now. If you put in another permit, we're going to start fining you. And I thought, oh, man, I'm not going to win this game. So I stopped for a year. I completely just give up on the idea. But we got something in Florida that you guys don't have out here that's an interesting phenomenon. And Lucy calls me up in September 2018. She said, hey, is this Tim? And I said, yes. She said, this is Lucy. I don't know if you remember me. And I was like, no, I have not forgotten. She said, well, this week coming up is the hurricane. And I said, yeah. She goes, well, I just want to let you know that for the county on the week of the hurricane, we don't look at permits for tree removals. because we understand a lot of trees fall. I said, what are you telling me? She said, I'm not. I said, oh. Well, all right then. And that week, 12 trees fell on our property, and today the Dream Big building came out. So you never know how things will work out. Sometimes persistence pays off, but it's not always on your own timing. This today has become really a landmark. People come from all over and take photos with the Dream Big building. And so I thought I'd take it one step further. I thought, man, what a great asset for the community. Now I want to do it at the school. And so I called the same county. I said, hey, we would love to do a mural right on the campus of that elementary school. And they said, well, Tim, things are a little different. That was a private building. This is state-owned. You can't just go painting on other people's buildings. And I said, well, what's the process to do that? They said, well, you'd have to have a nonprofit. You'd have to get the superintendent to sign off. You have to do this and that. And so we took that back. 6 months later, we created a nonprofit. It's called the Tampa Foundation. It's created for doing inspirational artwork around the community. And we asked her, said, all right, now can we do it? We really want to do this. Said, well, you know what? It's not going to be that easy, but I'll let you guys start with the sidewalk. So we started with the sidewalk and had the kids come out to help us out. We did 200 feet, put some positive inspirational words on there as well. And we get a tweet the next day. It's from Hillsborough County Schools. And they say, hey, this great thing happened. The superintendent takes this tweet and retweets it. He says, this is a great idea. We should do more of these. So I print out that tweet and I send it into the county. And they said, oh, all right, now you guys are good. Now we're in. And so for the next year, we do 10 of these in the elementary schools all around. Today we have 12 other murals in Tampa. They're all anonymous on the side of the road, just inspirational messages, kind of like a fortune cookie as you're driving by. And this one here in the tower that's right over the downtown. But I'll tell you, it's a little thing. As someone's driving to see a little message in their day. But I'll tell you, it can have a profound impact. One of the muralists that we use, he did a mural that said clean, C-L-E-A-N, on the side of a laundromat. Laundromat in a community where they would throw the trash on the ground and no one really kept it up. Before he finished this mural, he's working on the last letter, and a guy from across the street walks over. He's bawling. He says, thank you so much for making this mural for me. And the muralist is a little bit confused. He's not making it for him. And he said, what do you mean? He goes, well, for the past 15 years, I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol. 2 months ago, I got clean. He said, 2 weeks ago, I moved in that house across the street. And when I came out this morning and saw the mural you're making for me, he said, I want to let you know I'm going to stay clean forever. The muralist is sitting there. He can't tell this guy he didn't make it for him at this point. He's stuck. So he said, you're welcome. And the guy walks across the street. A single word like clean could change someone's life. And so we think that that's the power of business. You could do something, don't ever think it's too small. Something so small can have such a big impact on someone else's life. We continue to grow, and this is inside of our business in Tampa, but we also moved to Atlanta and Miami, and we've had a lot of success over the years. But I realized along the way, as our team was growing and our studios were moving around and our clients were changing, that I had lost track of that thing that I learned 15 years prior in the back of that church, that I wanted to make advertising as good, that was going to be my goal. Because the more success we got, the more success we wanted. And so there was a point about 2 years ago where I said, you know what, we got to get back on track. We got to do that thing in our business, in our core business, that really makes change. So I want to show you this video to show you that turning point.
It doesn't matter. Don't be fooled. Get hundreds of exciting.
It's refreshing. What's it taste like, dude?
Incredible $40 voucher. It's very cool to follow the rules.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve. And where down we go. Oh, where down we go.
realized, thank you. At this part of the journey, we had so much potential. I mean, now we have a big team, we have a big dream, and we thought, man, if we can really go after this, we could change the world. I think that the stories we tell today shape the world that we live in tomorrow. And so it's important what we do, especially as advertisers. We have a deep responsibility for our youth. And so I wrote a book on it. It's called Sold on Purpose. I said, you know what, there's a new kind of advertising coming, a conscious advertising where the things that we say, they mean something because people are following after this. There's more people watching TV on the phones in their pockets now than there are on the regular screen. And all those messages going around, they compile into the society that we have tomorrow. So I wrote down these businesses, the case studies of what I saw and I loved, like Tom's, who's created not only a corporate enterprise, but a social enterprise, doing great things around the world, like Tesla, you know, who has a mission for sustainability more than just selling cars. Patagonia, they make documentaries like Damnation that talks about how when we mess with the rivers and streams of our natural wildlife, what happens with that. And so, you know, I realized there is so much more purpose in business. I gave a 2-hour talk on this after the book came out, and it was at a university. And one of the kids afterwards says, hey, Tim, you know, great talk, awesome book, I really like that. Just to let you know, there's a 2-minute video on YouTube that says everything you just said. I said, really? He said, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but the Japanese culture figured this out 500 years ago. It's called Ikigai. I'd already published the book at this time, so you'll see it's not in there. I said, okay. So I go back home, I watch this video, I said, wow, this is genius. I don't even need to publish the book anymore. This right here is the best way I could describe finding purpose in your life and in business. And it starts with the top thing, you know, figuring out what you love. If you know what you really love, you'll never work a day in your life. And so the challenge with this, though, is that this is a 4-tiered circle here. You can't just find what you love, you have to find what you're good at. You know, if you love singing but you don't have the golden pipes, that's gonna be a tough career. You know, if you wanna be a basketball player but you're 4'5", I'd suggest otherwise. You know, the idea is that you have to find what you love, but it's gotta match what you're good at. Because there's a lot of starving artists out there who love what they do, but they haven't figured out how to make that a career. And the bottom one is, what can you get paid for? You found your passion and you found your career, but is it sustainable? Can you scale it? And the final thing is, what does the world need? If you can figure out all these buckets, it becomes very clear what you'll be most successful at. And I realized that not only did we have to use, you know, all our potential, but also find our platform. You know, as business owners here in Wisconsin, you have so many resources and an incredible network. To be able to use that platform and tell your story in a way that you can continue to grow your purpose, I think is unparalleled. So I'll show you a little bit of what we did joining a community called B Corp.
I go walk in the morning, don't get off in the night. I can't find no time to clear my mind.
When we got connected with this community of people that believed that business could be used as a force for good, you know, it was an accelerant for us to really go after that mission. But today I want to leave you with one final thing, and that's how you tell this story of your purpose. You've been telling story for 15 years now, and I realize that there's just one story told over and over again. Joseph Campbell wrote a book on this, and he talks about the monomyth. In Greek mythology, one myth told a million ways. And the monomyth, the way that it works is and today we call it the hero's journey. There is a underdog, and the underdog is in a broken world. he receives a gift from the mentor. And he goes into that broken world and he changes it. He becomes the hero. That's the hero's journey. And you see it in all this. Neo gets the blue pill from Morpheus, goes into the Matrix, and he saves the world. Luke Skywalker finds out the Force from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he goes into the galaxy and saves it. Moses gets a burning staff from God. He parts the sea, and the Israelites escape. This story is just the structure of how you tell the story, but it happens over and over again in life. And so I realized that, man, if we can tell the stories that are meaningful to inspire other people to go after their purpose, now you can create an effect that ripples forever long. So I'm going to show you a quick video of this and then break it down so you can see the hero's journey in it.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
125 decibels right there. We're gonna have to clean this up.
Where do you want me to stand? I just like walk up, introduce yourself maybe one more time.
Okay.
It's like, cool.
And then when they look around, you guys are completely normal, like nothing happened.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good.
Can I have a hot chocolate?
So you just want, do you want a double espresso or a single?
Double is fine.
Okay,
We got whole milk.
I do.
Let's do it.
Okay, do you want a medium, large?
No, medium.
Medium, and do you want that for here?
Yes, please.
All right. Let's get this going for you. Do you want that for here or to go?
For here is fine.
Okay.
All right, get ready. 3, 2.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
That explosion.
No. Just making some coffee. What's the weather like outside today?
Freezing.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cold. That's why I live here.
He's gonna shake it. Get ready for dog barks.
I don't know why I do it, but sometimes I just have to shake the beans too. Thank you very much.
What was that?
What was what? You guys enjoy the day?
Thank you.
Let's get out of here.
I don't know.
Hey guys, come on over here. We've got cameras right here, and we've got a camera right here, a camera back here, a camera right here, one right back here, one right up there. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna take you in the back here. Just go on through.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you okay? What happened there? I'm veering you onto the one coffee I know how to make with my 4 hours of training as a barista. So, did you notice at all that no one else was reacting to the noise? How'd that kind of make you feel?
Alone?
I just wanted somebody else to be on the same wavelength as me, because I felt like I was the outcast and nothing happened. Nobody looked around, nobody looked at me, and nothing.
How'd that make you feel?
Isolated?
What would you think if you had to deal with the same things you dealt with today, every day?
That would be debilitating. It would be scary to even leave my house because you don't know when or what to expect from day-to-day life.
That's what 24 million US citizens deal with on a daily basis. It's not mostly veterans.
Really?
A lot of people go through a lot of difficulties with post-traumatic stress. Did you hear the dog bark? Did you hear the car wreck?
I did, yeah.
I was a Green Beret. I lost 5 friends in a 6-month period. You know, it's hard. It's just a memory or emotional attachment to something that you need to work through.
It's jarring. And not just my personal, but to hear the numbers and to hear your story a little bit and know that people are suffering in silence. It's always been the sort of thing where you don't really talk about it, and that's not right, you know, if we're gonna heal, you know?
Chris, come here, brother. Get another hug from you. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I really do.
Right on, man. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for doing this.
Of course. Thank you.
So this shows you a little bit about that hero's journey. You know, in this, the customer is the underdog. They're walking in, they don't know what you know as you're watching this. You know, they come in and they meet this barista, not knowing that he's going to be a mentor to them, to tell them, to give them the gift of enlightenment, to tell them what's happening around the world with PTSD. And then at the end, we walk out, and that same customer is the hero, because they're going to go out and share the news. And that's the important thing with the hero's journey, is to realize that you are not the hero. You're the mentor. You know, Green Bay and Wisconsin, you're telling the story of how the world should be. And then the world becomes that hero that can change. And so today I want to say thanks again for having me. I really feel that if you find these three things, your passion, your potential, your platform, and you tell that story, I think that's where true recovery is. You know, every addict, alcoholic, compulsive gambler, they'll tell you that, you know, recovery isn't getting back to where you were. That's what got you there. Recovery is going to where you've never been, doing what you've never done. And I think that's the kind of recovery this economy can have. And I think that Green Bay could have one of the best stories ever told. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tim, for a powerful and inspirational message. That was really touching, and I think we're all going to take something away from that. It's been a busy morning so far, but I'm sure you're getting a little bit antsy. Maybe need to get up and refill your beverages. And we also want to encourage you to network. That's one of the reasons why we hold this event. So please take some time, meet some new folks. We'll take a 20-minute networking break, and then we'll come back, and we have a lot more to cover today. So thank you very much.